If I may be delightfully blunt, your bank account has been waiting for you to speak to it. Not stare at it, not avoid it, certainly not sigh at it. I mean speak to it, as if it were a slightly stubborn servant who has forgotten its duties and needs a gentle but firm reminder of who's really in charge. And yes, you are in charge. Not the economy, not your job, not the stock market, not your past mistakes, not your past stories, or that past version of you who treated money like an unpredictable guest who could disappear at any moment. Florence Scovel Shinn always insisted that supply is not out there, it is summoned, directed, commanded from the inside. Through your word, through your expectation, through the tones and textures of your inner conversation, she said, your word is your wand, and she meant it quite literally. You don't try to get wealth, you declare it, you assume it, you step into a sense of rightful ownership before the outer world has the faintest idea what you're up to. So today, we are going to do exactly that. We're going to speak your bank account alive. And don't worry, we will do this in a way that would make Florence smile that slightly amused, slightly superior smile she perfected. The one that says, "Oh, darling, if only you knew how easy life becomes once you stop trying so hard." Let's begin. Why your bank account needs your voice, not your worry. Most people talk about money, but never to it. They complain about it. They whisper anxiously about it. They fear it, chase it, resent it, or apologize for wanting more of it. But they never address it directly. That's like owning a horse and shouting about it from the barn door while it wanders the fields unsupervised. Florence would say, speak the word and the thing appears. Money is not a physical pile of numbers on a screen. It is a flow, and flows respond to direction, your tone, your certainty. The ancient command they never taught you is this: money, come forth. You belong to me by divine right. A scandalous statement, isn't it? You can almost feel the centuries of conditioning rise up in protest. Who am I to call money to me? What if that sounds greedy? What if it doesn't work? What if I'm disappointed? To which Florence would respond, nonsense. Wealth is your birthright. Its refusal to appear is merely evidence of your refusal to claim it. In Florence's world, and in the spiritual mechanics of manifestation, money is obedient, truly obedient. It responds to faith, expectation, and command far faster than it responds to human toil or panic-driven effort. This isn't about arrogance. It's not about ego. It's about alignment, matching the tone of a person who already has plenty, who already feels cared for, who already knows life conspires in their favor. You don't attract money by begging for it. You attract it by speaking to it as if it recognizes you. Because it does. Money is simply energy. Energy is intelligent. It gravitates toward clarity, confidence, and direction. So if your current financial situation feels stagnant or scarce, it's not because the universe is confused about your order. It's because your bank account has not received a clear command from you. And if your finances have been wandering off like an unruly pet, it's because the owner has forgotten to call it home. Today, we correct this. In the next section, we'll move into the exact language, tone, and energetic posture Florence used to summon supply, restore financial balance, and command abundance without ever raising her voice. Money responds to authority, and you are about to remember yours. The energetic posture of prosperity. Before we dive into the spoken command itself, we must address the posture, the inner stance, from which Florence always spoke. She never begged the universe for anything. She didn't plead, negotiate, or bargain. She didn't even ask in the way most people mean the word. Asking implies uncertainty. Asking implies someone else might say no. No, Florence declared. She commanded with the certainty of a woman placing an order at a fine restaurant. The chef may be invisible, but she knows the meal is being prepared. Florence often said something like, "I do not ask, I speak the word and it is done." That is the energetic posture of prosperity. Calm, assured, almost elegantly bored by the idea of lack. Your bank account doesn't respond to desperation. It doesn't respond to fear. It doesn't respond to, I hope this works. It responds to identity. It responds to the tone of a person who believes, without flinching, that abundance is natural. Let's create that posture now. Straighten your back just an inch. Lift your chest slightly. Relax your shoulders without collapsing. Let the breath deepen, but not dramatically. Just enough to feel your ribs behave as if they remember something ancient. Because they do. Now imagine Florence standing beside you with that amused, knowing half-smile. The one that suggests this entire exercise would be much easier if you simply stopped doubting your own spiritual authority. You are not trying to become prosperous. You are remembering that you already are. Prosperity is not a future achievement. It is a current identity waiting to be voiced. When this inner stance is active, your words become precise instruments. They take on weight. They carry intention. They vibrate with direction. And now that you're grounded, calm, and holding the posture Florence would approve of, we can begin the actual work. Because today your bank account is about to hear from you directly, perhaps for the first time. The ancient command they never taught you. There is a simple truth Florence taught her students privately, often in the quiet corners of her New York studio. Your financial life changes the moment your language changes. Not gradually, not eventually, instantly, because the vibration shifts first, and the physical must follow. She believed that money responds not to effort, but to expectation wrapped in command. And here is the ancient command, the one they never taught you in school, in church, or in polite conversation. The one Florence used again and again, especially when one of her students had fallen into fear or temporary lack. Take a breath and speak this inwardly. Money, you are mine by divine right. Return to me multiplied, with ease and perfect timing. Not shouted, not whispered, just stated, as if you were notifying reality of a very overdue correction. This is not a metaphor. It is not poetry. It is not a cute affirmation. It is a directive. You are not talking about money. You are talking to money. And make no mistake, money responds. In Florence's worldview, money is not cold, indifferent math. Money is obedient energy, loyal to the one who claims it with authority and clarity. When she coached people, she didn't analyze their spending, lecture them about budgeting, or examine their childhood beliefs to exhaustion. She went straight to the power source. Speak to your supply, call it to you. It must obey. Florence believed money has an intelligence that listens for instruction. If you instruct it with fear, it scatters. If you instruct it with resentment, it freezes. If you instruct it with guilt, it hides. But if you instruct it with confidence, with rightful ownership, it comes running. Your financial life is not waiting for more effort. It is waiting for clearer instructions. Your bank account is like a loyal dog that has merely wandered too far from home. You don't chase it down the street. You call it back, with clarity, with calm, with certainty. Money, come forth. You belong to me by divine right. It is astonishing how quickly things shift when the tone shifts. But a command is only the beginning. Now we will move into the mechanics. How to speak to your bank account daily, how to create the field around you that magnetizes supply, and how to remove the 3 silent patterns that cause money to disobey. That is where Florence's real magic begins, training your bank account to respond. Florence used to say that money behaves like a well-trained servant, once it knows who its master is. And she meant it sincerely, not metaphorically. Most people have a financial life that behaves like a startled cat, unpredictable, temperamental, easily frightened, and prone to vanishing when you need it most. But Florence taught her students a much different relationship. Money is not a wild creature. Money is not a mystery. Money is certainly not your superior. Money is a messenger. Money is an obedient form of supply. Money is the physical echo of your inner tone. So when you speak to your bank account with authority, truly speak with the energy of, I am the one who directs this flow, money hears you. It stabilizes. It organizes itself around your state of certainty. Let's go a little deeper. Every time you open your banking app, you are broadcasting a vibration. If you open it with dread, fear, or irritation, you reinforce a field of scarcity. But if you open it with command, with calm assurance, you begin to train the entire financial field around you to respond differently. Here is a simple daily practice Florence would approve of. Open your bank account as if you were greeting a familiar staff member. Not with fear, not with apology, with neutrality and authority. State calmly, either out loud or inwardly, "You increase for me now. You expand under grace. You reflect my divine supply." Close the app without lingering. Don't hover. Don't stare. Don't analyze. You've issued the instruction. Now let it work. This is not a delusion. This is the direction. And direction is what money responds to. Florence believed that your financial world is always listening, so the question is, what tone have you been speaking in? Because if your bank account has been sluggish, slow, or shy, it's not because it is disobedient. It's because it has been receiving mixed or timid signals. We are about to fix that permanently. Why fear and begging turn money away? Florence was wonderfully unfiltered when it came to fear. She found it dreadfully boring. She used to say that fear is simply wrong thinking, an unauthorized broadcast that confuses the universe. When you speak to your finances with fear, what you're actually saying is, "I do not trust my own supply. I do not trust divine order. I do not trust the perfect timing that belongs to me." And money responds accordingly. It hesitates. It mirrors your uncertainty. It stays just out of reach, like a skittish shadow. But Florence didn't believe in fear-based manifesting. She didn't believe in begging. She didn't even believe in hoping things would get better. Hope, she said, was far too weak a word for someone made in the image of the infinite. She believed in law. She believed in command. She believed in the spoken decree that activates supply without strain. The moment you say something like, "I hope money comes soon," you have already weakened the vibration. Hope implies doubt. Hope implies waiting. Hope implies someone else has the authority. Florence would erase that immediately. She might arch an eyebrow, place a gloved hand on her hip, and say, "My dear, why on earth are you hoping for what is already yours?" She insisted that your word must carry the vibration of completion, not desire, not longing, not uncertainty. Completion. The feeling that the train has already arrived and you are merely strolling toward it. And here is the sharpest insight from Florence, the one most people never hear. You cannot manifest from the energy of wanting. You can only manifest from the energy of having. When you want, the universe hears lack. When you have, the universe multiplies. So when you speak to your bank account, the tone must not be, "Come help me." The tone must be, "You and I are in perfect order. You expand now, as is your nature." Money is not impressed by desperation. It is magnetized by certainty. Money does not come because you need it. It comes because you claim it. In the next section, we'll explore Florence's three-step method to speak from the energy of having, even before the outer numbers have changed. This is where the real power begins. The three hidden patterns that cause money to disobey. Florence was sharp as a needle when it came to identifying why someone's finances refused to improve. She could sit with a student for 5 minutes and immediately detect the invisible snag, the quiet, subtle pattern that contradicted every affirmation they were trying to speak. She used to say, "You cannot plant roses and yell at the thorns for growing." Meaning, if your inner broadcast conflicts with your spoken command, the universe obeys the broadcast, not the words. If you want your bank account to respond, these three patterns must be corrected. Luckily, Florence gave us elegant, simple ways to dissolve each one. Pattern 1. Speaking the command, but feeling the opposite. Many people declare abundance while secretly feeling anxious. They speak wealth while trembling behind the scenes. Their mouths say, "Yes," but their nervous system whispers, "No, you don't. Not yet. Not here." Florence called this double-mindedness, and she had no patience for it. To her, it was like placing an order and then immediately telling the waiter, "Actually, forget it. I don't trust the kitchen." Here's her antidote. One tone. One decision, one word. The moment you feel that old fear tugging at your sleeve, you interrupt it, not with force, but with replacement. Florence's law of substitution is your ally here. Replace the fear instantly with this phrase: I cast out fear. My supply is sure. Say it once. Feel the shift. Move on. You're not wrestling with fear. You're overriding it. Pattern 2. Checking the physical world for proof too soon. This was one of Florence's greatest criticisms of beginners. They speak their decree, they feel powerful, they detach, and then suddenly, 10 minutes later, they check their bank account to see if the miracle has arrived. Florence found this hilariously human and terribly ineffective. She said, "Never run back to see if the seed has sprouted. Let the soil do its work." When you check for evidence too early, you are broadcasting two messages at once. I don't trust this. I think nothing is happening. And the universe, ever obedient, echoes both. The remedy is simple and almost mischievous. Say the command as if you already know the result, then behave as if you're too busy being blessed to worry about it. This is spiritual nonchalance, Florence's favorite attitude. Pattern 3. Treating money like an authority instead of a tool. This one is subtle, but it sabotages more people than you'd imagine. If you emotionally collapse every time you see a bill, if you panic the moment an unexpected expense appears, if you treat money as something that has power over you, then you have reversed the hierarchy. Florence believed money was meant to serve, not rule. It is not the boss. You are. A single bill should not hijack your nervous system any more than a houseplant should command you to water it immediately or else. Florence's remedy was simple. Nothing is too good to be true. Nothing is too wonderful to happen. Money flows to me as a servant of divine law. You restore your authority. You remind money of its place. You replace panic with poise. And when money senses that you have stopped bowing to it, stopped worshiping it, stopped fearing it, it comes willingly, easily, even playfully. These three patterns, fear mixed with faith, premature evidence checking, and treating money as the authority, are the main reasons financial manifestations fail. But once you remove them, your commands land cleanly. Your words travel straight to the subconscious. Your bank account begins reorganizing itself with surprising speed. Now that we've removed the blocks, the final section will show you how to activate a daily ritual, a brief, elegant Florence-style practice that trains your finances to obey you consistently. The 3 hidden patterns that cause money to disobey. Florence was sharp as a needle when it came to identifying why someone's finances refused to improve. She could sit with a student for 5 minutes and immediately detect the invisible snag, the quiet, subtle pattern that contradicted every affirmation they were trying to speak. She used to say, "You cannot plant roses and yell at the thorns for growing," meaning, if your inner broadcast conflicts with your spoken command, the universe obeys the broadcast, not the words. If you want your bank account to respond, these 3 patterns must be corrected. Luckily, Florence gave us elegant, simple ways to dissolve each one. The daily ritual to speak your bank account alive. Florence was not a fan of complicated rituals. Anything that required too much effort or theatrical flair, she considered unnecessary. Life, she believed, responds best to simplicity. Pure, uncluttered spiritual law delivered with confidence. She had a gift for reducing the entire universe of metaphysics into a short, graceful practice anyone could do every day. This ritual, which I've adapted in her tone, takes less than 2 minutes, but its effects accumulate like compound interest in the spiritual realm. Do this daily for 7 days and watch what happens. Step 1. The preparation. Stand in your authority. You begin not with words, but with posture. Stand or sit in a way that signals, I am not hoping, I know. You don't tense up, you don't dramatize, you simply hold yourself as if you trust the invisible machinery working on your behalf. If Florence were here, she'd say, "Straighten your crown, my dear, then speak." Step 2. The address. Speak directly to your bank account. This is the heart of the ritual. You are going to address your bank account as if it were a loyal employee who has forgotten the schedule. No anger, no desperation, just redirection. Say calmly and clearly, "Bank account, hear me. Increase now by divine law. Expand with ease and under grace." Pause. That pause is important. It communicates confidence, the kind a commander uses when they know they'll be obeyed. Then add, "All that belongs to me returns multiplied. All channels are open. Supply flows freely." You don't rush the words. You don't shrink them down. You speak like Florence, gracious, calm, slightly amused that abundance ever dared hide from you in the first place. Step 3. The feel. Step into the already done state. Don't force a dramatic emotion. Florence never approved of theatrical spiritual work. Instead, let a soft sense of satisfaction rise for just a moment, like the feeling you get when a bill is paid easily or when unexpected money arrives. Hold that feeling for 3 seconds, not 30, just 3. This is enough to signal the subconscious. This is who we are. This is the new norm. Florence believed the subconscious responds to tone, not effort. It is impressed by clarity, not strain. Step 4. The release. Walk away with elegant indifference. This final step is the most Florence thing you will ever do. After your decree, you must release it with style, with grace, with a touch of humorous superiority, as if the universe has already sent runners into the invisible to deliver your supply. She often said, "Never fuss, never fret, declare and forget." So after your command, you behave as someone who expects good news, not as someone pacing by the mailbox. You go about your day, you live in poise, you assume support. This state of elegant detachment is the spiritual signature of someone whose supply is guaranteed. And the universe responds accordingly. What happens when you do this consistently? When you speak your bank account alive for several days, truly speak it alive with authority, not hope, you begin noticing shifts, sometimes small, sometimes startling. Florence's students used to report unexpected refunds, debts dissolved quietly, checks arriving out of nowhere, jobs, clients, or opportunities appearing without being chased, money flowing through surprising new channels, discounts, waivers, or financial luck emerging for no logical reason. To Florence, none of this was miraculous. It was simply the outer world rearranging itself to match the inner command. She believed the universe is exquisitely obedient. It listens to the strongest voice within the individual, not the voice of fear, not the voice of history, not the voice of circumstance, but the voice of identity. When you say, "Money, come forth," you are not just speaking to numbers on a screen. You are speaking to the field of supply itself, the unseen intelligence that governs every channel of prosperity. And it listens, every single time. The only question is whether you spoke with authority or with apology. Florence's invitation is simple. Stop apologizing for your desires. Stop tiptoeing around prosperity. Stop whispering your commands as if lack has earned the right to stay. You are meant to be supplied. You are meant to flourish. You are meant to command the flow. This is not arrogance. It is spiritual alignment. And now, with the ancient command restored, you are ready to speak your bank account alive not once, but every time you choose. Because, as Florence would say, there is no power outside of you. Speak the word, and supply obeys. If this video resonated with you, give it a like and subscribe so we can continue this journey together.